Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, and to a tag video today. So guys, today's tag is the Sandman Tag, and I was tagged by Sean Standfast, so thank you, Sean. So guys, this one is like kind of deep, but I mean, what are you gonna expect with a title like the Sandman? You know, that is one that I would love to get more into. We have not seen the show yet. I want to say, is it Netflix? I have no idea. I'm so bad with TV shows, but it is something that I would like to get more into. You know, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would go out and buy all of those beautiful, beautiful copies of the graphic novel. So this tag is short, but the prompts really make you think. So let's just dive in, because I feel like this one might warrant some talking. Alright, so I have Sean's video pulled up for the prompts, and prompt number 1. Destiny. What book or character do you think reflects your own life? Oh boy. So I had to think about this one. I usually see little pieces of myself in a lot of the characters that I enjoy, and a lot of them jump to mind, but the one that I think I'm going to go with, well, it's a combo. I'm going to go with a combo of the sister from The Vegetarian, not the vegetarian herself, if you've read that book, but her sister, and the main character of Earthlings. And if you've read those books, you're probably like, Pax, do you need some help? And I don't mean it really like that. I mean like character traits. With the sister of the vegetarian, she felt a tremendous amount of weight on her shoulders to take care of those around her. And I do feel that sometimes. I feel like I can't mess up, because if I mess up, the world's gonna end. Everybody else can mess up, but I can't mess up. The world's gonna end. As far as the main character of Earthlings, whose name I'm not gonna butcher, that's why I'm just gonna call her the main character. She was always like not feeling good enough. I said in the video for that review that she was the type that would apologize for bleeding on your shirt if you cut her throat. And many, many times I find myself in those shoes. So for those reasons, I'm going to go with them, because I can see very deep-seated traits of myself in those characters. So, the vegetarian, the sister, and Earthlings. Alright, prompt number 2, death. What book presented death or dying in a way that was unexpected to you? Okay, I have 2 for this one too, because why not? The first one is What Dreams May Come. That one is, to me, both horrific, because it is talking about loss in such a way that just makes your heart crumble into ash, but it is also presenting this whole idea of, you know, people being meant for one another, to being destined for things. And I find that incredibly interesting. But the way it was presented was both very tragic and beautiful to me. So for that reason, I'm going to go with What Dreams May Come. But the second one was a book way back at the beginning of my channel called Night Visitor. And I'm not going to go into the whole story here, but suffice it to say, you know, it was presenting death almost like this big desert waiting area, and also how death has its own political agenda, which I thought was very unique. I did enjoy the world that it made and the way it looked at death. I thought that was pretty cool, because, you know, you can kind of wheel and deal and get things done in the afterlife, but it was talking about how, like, you know, the angels essentially amounted to like paper pushers, you know, so, and there was a lot more to it than that, but I thought it was pretty unique. So Night Visitor. Alright, prompt number 3. What book is like a dream or a nightmare? This one was easy. Negative Space. And I was lucky enough to actually talk about this book with a few other people on Steve Talks Books channel, so I will link that down below if you want to check that out. I do not think this book is for everyone. I think there's going to be a large number of people that would pick this up and go, hell no. Simply because of the way it's written. It's almost, the only way I can think to describe it is almost like stream of consciousness-y, kinda. Like, you are legit getting all of your action through various kids, almost like journal entries, you know, almost like little glimpses into their life, and you kind of have to put it together, like put this cohesive action together in your brain. And so it is not a book that is, you know, kind of like kick your feet up and sit back and read. Like, you kind of have to pay attention. And the actions that happen are very surreal at times, and are really very, like, horrifying, some of the things that these kids go through. And, you know, it's just, it's very much like a fever dream, but kind of more on the nightmare side. A fever nightmare? I don't think that's a thing. So, but, Negative Space. Alright, prompt number 4. What is your favorite book about a prodigal character? Okay, this one I had to think about, because most of the books that I read, the characters don't usually return, or they're just dead. So the first thing that popped in my mind was It, like the way the kids come back. But I think I'm gonna go with Revelator. And that was another book from what feels like forever on my channel. That book was not really horrifying, but it was really cool. It was set, you know, it was very much like country, kind of folk, and it had a lot of twists in it, especially the ending. Lots of twists that you're never gonna see coming. At least I didn't. And it's kind of centered around this girl who is super spunky, and she returns to this particular section of her family that kind of has their own religion, and antics ensue. So it was an enjoyable read, and it was one of those with like the ending that kind of hit you in the face, like, bet you weren't expecting this, huh? And I love stuff like that. So, Revelator. All right, prompt number 5, Desire. What is the sexiest book you've ever read? Probably Poppy Z. Bright's anthology, Love in Vain. And I know that's probably cheating, picking an anthology, but bite me. No pun intended, since it's a vampire book. Yeah, almost every one of those stories had something to do with sex or sex. It was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I liked it because of the wide take on the idea of the vampire. You know, you had almost every iteration, save for Twilight, in that book. And, you know, yeah, the vampire is a sexy creature. And I even said in that review, like, it's kind of a given. They hunt humans. They need to be alluring. So, it was chock full of sexiness. So, Poppy Z. Bright, Love in Vain. Prompt number 6, Despair. What is the most depressing book you've ever read? This one was rather easy. Brain Drips Yellow. This was a recent read of mine, and just, if you breathe, if you have ever felt like you don't matter, like your contributions are amounting to nothing, and you don't want to revisit those emotions, don't read this book. Because this is some heavy stuff. There are fever dream parts of this. To me, it wasn't that hard to follow. It had some strangeness to it, some real strangeness. But it was so overwhelmingly depressing because it makes you think that nothing matters. None of it matters. Not a single thing you do, not a single breath you take matters. And I'm not going to tell you where it comes out, but yeah, it was kind of tough to read at points because, I mean, I struggle with that. I feel like most humans struggle with that. That, you know, does your life mean anything? Are you going to leave a mark? Are people going to give a shit if you're not here? Those are some big questions, and this book tackled that. So definitely one of the most depressing things I've ever read. Brain Drips Yellow. And number 7, Delirium. What is the most absurd or nonsensical book you've ever read? Okay, so special mention to John Dies at the End, and this book is full of spiders. Those are super enjoyable, and I love them. But they definitely have some absurd parts. Like, for example, and this is giving nothing away, this is not a spoiler, but like posters at McDonald's cussing you out and talking to you. Yeah, stuff like that. Super enjoyable book, highly recommend them. But the one that I think I really have to give this to is Graham Masterson's The Children God Forgot. Because that book, I loved it. It was so much fun. But my God, is it absurd at points. It really is. It's so just absolutely stupid at some points. I mean, like, there's a point where they have a shit-splosion. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's a shit-splosion. I mean, just some of it is really wacky. It really is. And again, it was enjoyable, but I would definitely call a large majority of that book absurd. So, The Children God Forgot. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you, Sean, for tagging me in this. This was fun, and this was one of the ones that you really had to think on, I feel like. And you guys know how I roll. I don't tag people, so if you want to do it, do it. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. These prompts really do make you think, so keep that in mind. This isn't one of those you can kind of just go into blind. I feel like you kind of have to think a while on some of these prompts. But guys, if you like this, please hit like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, bye for now.